This is the PMQ live update for today, which is Wednesday, May 27th. We're almost through the month of May. I hope everybody's staying safe and staying sane, being careful, social distancing, but getting out there and enjoying themselves. Today, I'm joined by Nick Karvelas, young man, but he's got quite a big burden on his shoulders as far as managing some of these restaurants over there in Alabama. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and Karvelas Pizza Co.
Yeah, so I'm Nick Karvelas. We're actually in Georgia. We're right on the Alabama line, though.
My bad.
But
Yeah.
You're good. It's all good. But yeah, so I'm a co-owner of Karvelas Pizza Company, 2 locations in Hogansville, Georgia, and LaGrange, Georgia. And I'm just having a blast, working a lot, but it's all worth it at the end of the day. So, yeah, I'm excited to do this.
Well, and it's, you got 2 locations right there in LaGrange and Hogansville, Georgia, not Alabama. You have a third one coming up, I assume, or what you told me it was kind of put on hold a little bit.
Yeah, it was put on hold over the past few months, but it's back on track. We're getting into the construction phase. We're remodeling the location. So it's going to be in Noonan, Georgia. All of our locations are within 45 minutes to 30 minutes of each other. So, yeah, we're really excited. It's going to be pretty cool having three of them.
Well, and then having them within that close location of each other, it's easier to manage and maintain the quality and consistency. So,
oh yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, I wanted to talk to you. Your uncle Joey Karvelas, U.S. Pizza team member. He recommended me to talk to you because you're just kind of your discipline and procedure for ordering product for your shops. And I think that's a very important thing that people need to hear about is about, where can you trim the fat, how to be more disciplined about your actual ordering so you're not wasting. So why don't you kind of, you have a background in the Marine Corps. A very young guy. So kind of talk about that and how it translates over to the business side.
Yeah. So in the Marine Corps, I guess you learn to adapt and overcome, as we say, do a lot with a little. So it really, that translates over really nice with the, in the restaurant business, specifically ordering. You kind of have to be able to get down in the nitty gritty and, learn how to not spend a lot of money on food, but at the same time, don't run out of products. So it's definitely, a big thing that we focus on at Karvelas, and I learned it, starting off in the Marine Corps, and when I came in with my uncle Joey, he kind of already had that mentality, even though he was never even in the military. But he definitely taught me how to spend as little as possible, but at the same time, don't run out. So those two definitely kind of commingle.
Well, yeah, and it's just the discipline of knowing what you need and when you need it. But we'll get to you kind of said that catchphrase there, but we'll get to that in a minute. But at this point, as soon as everything happened, the situation happened. What was the first thing that you guys did to pivot as far as ordering? Did you adjust your menu at all, or did you leave everything as that and just mainly adjusted your ordering side?
Yeah, we did not want to change anything on the menu. We wanted to keep that same consistency. We want them to always recognize our menu and know exactly what they want. It never changes. So yeah, we had to we've had to adjust completely. Right now we're ordering 7 days ahead of time, mainly for core items, but it seems like every week there's another item that our suppliers are having issues acquiring, and we're finding out the day before, which is definitely an issue. But I meet with my managers, and we have a conference call once a week. And like I said, we're ordering 7 days out. So from what I can gather so far with the various suppliers I've spoke with, is for a lot of the items, it's not necessarily the supplier. The supplier is not ordering enough. They're doing that because they're not trying to have a lot of money in their inventory in their warehouse. They're kind of going off of what us as the restaurant is going to order, and then they will get their order based off of that. I know there is some issues going on with meat right now, which everybody's hands are kind of tied with that. But yeah, I mean, ordering 7 days ahead of time, we're pre-ordering, and that's really the only way you can do it right now. If you're not doing that, then you're going to run into issues with products. And you know, we don't have a freezer at either one of our locations. We don't do anything frozen. So, you know, ordering frozen meat or chicken specifically, we do a lot of wings. Ordering frozen wings is off the table. We only do fresh. So yeah, it's a lot of planning.
Well, no, that makes sense. I mean, a lot of people don't want to have that overhead of just having things on. I don't want to say on reserve, but just, you know, not over ordering. Right. Whatever you order, it needs to go out the door, first in, first out. So I like that you're able to do that. But I mean, were you able to? Did you have to pivot at all? I mean, I think you had mentioned to me that you guys were on the verge of actually going to one supplier, but because of this, you had to backpedal a little bit and go back to using numerous suppliers for different things, just because of, you know, scarcity of, you know, the product or something like that. You know, people over ordering other things and just these suppliers not having them. I mean, how did you manage that?
Yeah, so like you said, we were in the process of going to a sole supplier. We were negotiating the contract before this all happened, and we definitely had to backpedal from that because every supplier right now has different items that we use and they won't have. 1 week they'll have it, 1 week they won't, and then that same week somebody else will have it. And like I said before, we were not planning on changing the menu, so we had to adjust and go back to utilizing multiple suppliers, which we used to. I mean, that was how we did it for a long time. And then once we got the second location, we started realizing, you know, it would probably be more effective to go ahead and work out a deal with our supplier ahead of time, so that way we're not having to worry about prices every single week. So that was a thought process before everything happened. But once it did, we had to go back to, I had to get on the phone with all of my suppliers and let them know, you know, we're going back on the market. Whoever's got what we need at a good price, you know, that's who we're going to go with. And, you know, that's how we've been doing it. And it's worked out. It's not the most ideal. And it is a little bit more work. But you got to do what you got to do right now.
Well, and that's another question that I had here too. And I hate to kind of term it like this, not to strong arm your distributors, but I mean, at a certain point, you know, we operators have a little bit more leverage. So how do you kind of manage that balance without, you know, seeming like a dick, you know, going at them really strong armed. But I mean, you know, it's like, hey, this is what we need. What can you do for us? I mean, how do you manage that relationship right there? Do you get pushy, or do you know, take what you can get?
No, it's I mean, it's definitely something that we try to avoid having to, you know, deal with anybody like that. But yeah, I mean, the suppliers are hurting really bad right now too. So if you've got an order, you're ready to order from somebody, you know, that rep is 9 times out of 10 doesn't want to pass up on that order. So if they've got products that, you know, for a fact you can get cheaper with somebody else, and also, well, something I forgot to mention, make sure you're price checking everything. So we're price checking weekly, and you kind of have to just use that. Like, hey, I can order with the other guy, you know, and he's got these products for $10 cheaper a case. It's just not something I can pass up on. So I'm gonna have to do that. And you know, we're still gonna go back to doing a sole supplier once all this stuff kind of passes. So I mean, whoever can take care of us right now, we'll definitely remember that once we go back to looking for that sole supplier. You know, that I can remember, hey, during the stuff that was going on, and we were having issues getting stuff from different suppliers. You helped us out. You worked with us on the pricing. We remember that. So let's talk. Let's try to work out a deal.
Well, no, and I like that. I mean, it's obviously you're not trying to burn any bridges, and you're not trying to play people against each other. But everybody right now needs to get the best deal they can, just to kind of stay afloat, keep their head above water. Even the suppliers, vendors, and stuff like that. So they might be willing to work with you. I did kind of brought me to the next point of, source what you need from where you can get it. I mean, is that something where you've had to kind of back down? This person has actually supplied you with this for a long time, but they've run out. So now you have to go and find a new supplier for that particular product, say prosciutto or mozzarella or whatever. I mean, how do you manage that? And while keeping, because the best thing is just to kind of keep those relationships, open lines of communications. You know what I mean? And that's one of the bullet points that we had here, is that keeping a good relationship with your food suppliers. That's what it's about. We're not trying to piss anybody off and, anything like that. So how do you keep a good relationship with them when you have to source what you need elsewhere?
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. I mean, you kind of have to walk a fine line. But I believe in, for the most part, just being honest with the sales reps, treating them good. And, you just let them know this is the times we're in. So I'm going to do what I got to do to run my business efficiently and effectively. And so it's just, you got to keep a good relationship with them, talk with them, have meetings with them, and give everybody an order if you can. Well, we try to order from multiple people right now, not just call them and get the pricing and then not order with them. As long as their pricing is competitive, then we'll make sure we get them an order, because again, of the times we're in right now, we can't take a chance on, this person I've been ordering has had wings the whole time, but next week they may not have wings. And then I'm going to wish I still had that relationship with the other supplier who's sitting there on a pile of wings ready to move on them.
Okay. So, I mean, I like that it's use it where you need it kind of mentality. But, if you get a better price from somebody and they run out, you always have to have that backup. And that goes along with, keeping a good open line of communication and just, keeping that good relationship with anybody.
Yeah. I mean, we've been fortunate to stay pretty busy during these times. Mm-hmm. So we're just trying to spread the wealth right now to, it was going to benefit us the most right now.
Well, and I do have another bullet point. It's obviously never take the first offer. Do more diligence afterwards to see, where you can get it. Do you find that the vendors are amenable to that? Or, if you say, well, I'm going to see if I can find something at a better price, do they come at you with a different price?
There's certain items like I was saying earlier that they just can't do anything about. It's over their head. But I mean, if they can go down on the price, then we're going to figure that out eventually. And all it takes is just to not order from them and order from somebody else. And then the following week, the pricing, if it's still not there, then either the sales rep isn't trying to get the business, or it's just they can't move down on it.
Right. Well, and then even the salespeople, sometimes their hands are tied, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's nobody's fault. You just have to do your homework. I did want to ask, because you said you were trying to move to a single distributor or food supplier. But going back to numerous ones, are there any kind of hidden costs or fees or taxes, etc., if you're using numerous different distributors?
Yeah, so the fees are financially negligible. What we experienced is the most cost comes from, if you're going to have multiple deliveries throughout the week because you found cheaper prices on certain items with a different supplier, and then the other products were cheaper with this supplier. So you spend a lot more money having multiple people staffed and spending time. Everybody who works in the business knows that a delivery truck is take a lot of time for your people who are receiving that. They're going over the invoice, and not to mention, I mean, at least 50% of the time, maybe not 50%, it might be an exaggeration, but there's issues. You got mushrooms that look like crap. They mispicked an item. They sent you honey ham instead of a buffet smoked ham. I mean, they sent you chicken breasts instead of chicken tenders. And then it happens on multiple trucks that come into the day. And it's like, me as the ordering manager, is just like, oh my gosh, you know what? I just want to deal with this one time and that's it.
Yeah. And as you said, yeah, it's kind of an over exaggeration, but we've all had those kind of headaches as far as just just all the errors as far as delivery. And, we're all human. So I guess having numerous deliveries that just compounds all those headaches at that point, instead of having one really crappy day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if the pricing is, if you really can get pricing that much cheaper, then yeah, it would make more sense to do multiple trucks. But if we found that if the pricing is competitive, then we save more money just doing one truck, doing one supplier, and it's easier to manage, especially if you're going to negotiate all the pricing up front, and then, do audits quarterly or whatever.
Well, I mean, yeah, and actually being able to do that all through one truck and actually be able to negotiate the price and stuff like that, it makes sense. Physical sense, obviously. Save money where you can save money. I did want to say I appreciate everybody tuning in and watching. We've had a good steady viewership here. If you want to ask any questions here, just put them in the Facebook comments, and we'll make sure Nick asks or answers them. But past that, I did have one more point, and then I'm going to ask you for your just a best tip and then positive affirmation. So the last thing is, we had talked about there's no shame in running out rather than having leftovers. But you called me today and corrected me on that and said that's not your mantra. That's not what you guys do. You don't want to ever run out. You'd rather have some extra. I mean, kind of explain that and how that can be, financially responsible within your operation.
Yeah, so like most restaurants, we're extremely proud of our food. Joey built this menu from the ground up, and we're just very proud of it. And we have a strong following with our customers, and we have people who drive hours to come eat at our restaurant because they heard about the fried pickles, and then they get there and we're out of fried pickles because we were trying to just order so lean and keep that food cost so low. And it just completely just ruins their whole experience with us. And, they may not ever come back, and they may tell everybody, all their friends, like, oh yeah, we don't really go there anymore because they're always out of fried pickles, even though it only happened one time. But it's just, I know that's a terrible experience as a customer. And I'm not saying that we just order everything in massive quantities because we don't run out, but myself and my managers, we put together some really good systems to keep track of where we're at with our food, our inventory, and so as long as we follow those systems, then we can order correctly, not run out, and also not have just a boatload of stuff, and then you're having to throw away chicken that went bad or something like that.
Have you had to do a lot of adjustment right now just because of in the last few months because of that? Because I know you don't want to run out, but I mean, at one point did you find yourself sitting on a boatload of pickles that you couldn't move?
No, thankfully for the pickles, the shelf life on them is nice. We've come close with chicken, before. But
But you've adjusted your menu, so I mean you weren't actually you kind of foresaw everything coming, so you weren't sitting on a lot of extra product, basically.
Yeah, and in Georgia, when the coronavirus kind of hit harder in other places, it didn't hit quite as hard at first in Georgia, but we were able to have time to see what was coming. We knew there was something was going to happen, whether we were going to get shut down completely or dine-in was going to get shut down. So we were able to go ahead and adjust, and we started ordering a lot less, but we kind of have a cheat code. We're next to one of our suppliers has a will call about 45 minutes away. So when they shut down dine-in, we cut our ordering pretty drastically because we didn't want to be sitting on, $10,000 worth of food sitting in our cooler at both locations. So we did it like that, and we took it day by day. And if we could tell, okay, it's a little bit busier than we expected, or wow, this is way busier, then we just put in an order and we went and picked it up the next day, or we were able to get it on a truck. But when everything happened, we definitely took it day by day.
Well, and like you said, that's kind of a cheat code. That's the old Contra: up, down, left, right, A, B, start. You might be going to actually even know what that even means, but
I think that was a cheat code in Grand Theft Auto.
Good on them for actually bringing it back. But I mean, people have restaurant depots. Most places, in metropolis areas have those. So, deal with your distributors. What I'm hearing is deal with your distributors, but always have that backup ready to go.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to run out. Like you said, I think it's like if you run out, that looks bad on you. That's that one time that person drove 50 miles to get those fried pickles and they didn't have it, and they assume you're always running out. So
right,
it takes one bad
Absolutely.
review.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we did have some good viewership here. I appreciate everybody tuning in. If this is your last chance to actually ask Nick some questions, if you have any questions, but go ahead and just type those into the Facebook comments. At this point, Nick, I want to ask you actually, what is your best tip for anybody in this, I guess, not even in this pandemic anymore, but the re-emerging from it? Everybody's reopening. What's the best thing you can do, best advice you could offer, along the lines of even just ordering?
Man, I would say just take it day by day. I mean, we saw some pretty volatile numbers, whether it's super high or super low, but just stay proactive. We do inventories twice a week. During this whole thing, we've actually started inventorying a little bit more, just because we don't want to get, as we say, caught with your pants down. So just be really proactive and have an open line of communication with your suppliers. I've been working really closely with my managers, that we kind of do the ordering together, and they've been giving me some really good ideas. They've helped build this whole process and system that we're having to do right now. So yeah, just be proactive and take it day by day.
What was one of the, I don't want to say best tricks that you did with one of your distributors, or something that you're super proud of to where you got a really good result? Maybe somebody else can grab onto. It's like when you hung up the phone, you're like, damn, yeah, I'm a superstar.
Oh man, I don't know. I wasn't expecting that question.
Yeah, that's a gotcha question, but I mean, there's something that you're like, I didn't realize we could do it this way, but it can be done. So,
I couldn't tell you like a certain instance, but I know that during this whole thing, we've had to figure out multiple different solutions to the plethora of problems we've had to deal with as far as getting products. So just, always be ready for the worst. Somebody's not going to have something. Then you gotta be able to have that bag of tricks that you can reach into and, figure out what to do.
You know what? That was a gotcha question, and you answered it pretty well. I do appreciate that. So, just one final positive affirmation that you can tell the industry right now. Keep everybody's spirits high.
Yeah. So this industry, the food industry, is not going anywhere. Coronavirus is not going to shut down the food industry. People are going to start coming back, and they're going to come back stronger than ever, ready to eat. And so just keep your heads up. Everybody's going through tough times right now. Just keep your heads up, keep pushing, because once everything, starts getting back to normal, you're probably going to see better sales than you've ever seen. So that's something to look forward to.
Words to live by. I appreciate that, Nick. Such strong words coming from such a young man in the industry, and kudos to you and to Joey and all you guys are doing right there. Go visit them in Georgia, not Alabama, Georgia. LaGrange and Hogansville, Georgia. But, I do appreciate you being ready to go at a moment's notice, and, appreciate your service. There's nothing more I could say, man. I look forward to hopefully you competing in some USB team events,
Yeah, absolutely.
Getting out there cooking some pizzas. So.
Yeah, definitely. I'll try to get in on one of those here soon.
Absolutely. As soon as we can actually do it safely and responsibly, we're going to do it.
Correct.
I think we're going to actually do an online event. Obviously you can't taste it, but there has to be a recipe that comes along with it. So it'll be judged on appearance, and then also the recipe, which you can actually taste in your mind. If that makes any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. We've got a couple of pizzas like that. You just look at them and you can taste them in your mouth.
Absolutely. Hey, I like this kid. I like Nick. All right. I do appreciate you guys, everybody, for tuning in. If you have any questions, there's a comment there. Okay. So Alexis Karvelas. It's somebody there.
That's my wife.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, so, what's the biggest lesson learned during these times? That's a great question, actually, Alexis. Thank you. What's the biggest lesson that any restaurateur can take away from this right now?
Well, my wife is supposed to just toss me a home run pitch, not a difficult question. So thanks, Alexis. But biggest lesson learned during these times of the pandemic, man, I'd say
I'm not letting you go till you.
Yeah. Well, we learned that curbside service can be very effective, and it's doing really well for us right now, even with our dine-in is open back up at 50% capacity. But curbside, that kind of makes you realize why the drive-through fast food game is so strong. We have done a lot of business through curbside, and we really spent a lot of time making that thing as efficient as possible. So that was the biggest lesson learned. That's something we'll probably never go away from. We'll continue doing that at every location for the foreseeable future.
Well, and I like that you said that, because that's always my other question is like, what do you take from this that you're going to continue? So curbside and, curbside delivery, I think is good. Also, actually, Juan Cardenas, he actually had a question. How can you ensure that the vendors are providing you the best quality or ensure that they're giving you the best deal, especially when the rep is, I guess, is
low?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume everybody's trying to give everybody the best deal, but how do you gauge that as somebody who's a potential customer?
Yeah. So we have multiple suppliers, so we're able to compare pricing with 4 or 5 suppliers. So that's kind of a really good way to know that you're not getting a terrible deal. And as far as quality goes, we have specific brands that we order, so we will only use grande cheese. So that kind of helps you avoid that issue with quality. And you can also always tell your reps to send you a sample. they'll always send you a sample, and they won't charge you for it 99% of the time. And if there's something that they say they have to charge you for, then just let them know you're going to try it, and then if you don't like it, then you're going to send it back, and they'll get you a credit. So yeah, I mean, that's the best way to ensure quality. And then as far as pricing goes, just price check with multiple suppliers.
Yeah, well, having two menus out at the same time, but also knowing what you really want. You actually have to taste test the stuff. As you said, grande cheese. And I didn't realize you guys use that. I would have tagged grande. I do apologize, grande. They work with us in the magazine. So, it's one of those things where, you just using that as an example that you already know that that's what you use. So you can price that between two different people. Right. And the quality just kind of depends on who that you want to use. Yeah.
And we do a lot of, as far as just the day-to-day, I do a lot of online price checking. So you can get your whatever suppliers you're using, tell them you want to get set up online. So then you can easily pull up their pricing, and, you can even download Excel spreadsheets to compare easier. But, that's kind of a quick and easy way to do it. And instead of having to call the rep and, go through 30 different products and write down pricing. So that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, it's about curating the information and being prepared. That's what it looks like. And Todd Hansen says hi. Leah K says hi, Nick. Jamal Ali says pizza. So I do appreciate everybody tuning in and getting some questions in there. We appreciate your time, definitely, Nick, and some of your insight. If people want to reach out to you, what's the best way they can actually reach out to you? I'm going to put this in the comments real quick.
Yeah, if they go to our website and do the contact us button, that'll actually go directly to my phone. So I check those every day. So that'll be the best way. If you got any questions or anything, just go over there and I'll get back with you.
So that's going to be KarvelasPizzaCo.com. I'm going to just
KarvelasPizzaCo.com.
All right, so that goes directly to Nick. Uncle Joey's like, nah, none of that. Take care of it, Nick.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
No, I do appreciate it. I had a good conversation with him, and he actually recommended you the other day, and I do appreciate you being ready to go at a moment's notice. And I think a lot of what you can, it's not even the discipline that you learned and got in the Marine Corps, but the structure is what you're able to apply to the business. And I think that's something that, people can learn from. So, being such a young man and just ready to go, man, I'm impressed, and my hat's off to you, sir.
Yeah, well, I couldn't have done it without all the people around me. Like I was talking about earlier, I've got some awesome managers, that I work with every day. One of them is actually, or two of them, I got my brother and my sister that work with me too, and so I wouldn't be able to do it without any of them. And another tip that I can kind of throw out there to everybody is the restaurant business can be a thankless industry. It can be something where you just, you bust your tail every day. And then especially for the employees, all they ever get told is what they did wrong. So, something we believe in at Karvelas Pizza Company is treating everybody really well. They can go get a job at any restaurant making minimum wage. But you got to make them want to work at your restaurant more than that other restaurant. And there was strong leadership and somebody who takes care of them and listens to them. And, I try to have a really good relationship with my reps, which we've been talking about, but treating your employees well and taking care of them goes a long way. And, we've thankfully not had to deal with very much turnover. And I think that's a direct reflection on the leadership and the environment that we've created. It's a positive working environment. So that's worked out fantastic for us. And you want your employees to enjoy coming to work every day, which is not very common. So if somebody can enjoy coming in to wash dishes, then, you're doing something right.
Absolutely, man. That's the best affirmation that I've heard so far. You just got to have that attitude out there, and I think you guys present that. Everything I've seen online, and just working with Joey and all that stuff. Yeah, it seems like a great place to work. You guys have your heads on straight, so keep it up, man.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. Just keep it up, and hopefully people will learn from this. So, all right.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Brian. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, Nick. We're going to end the broadcast. We appreciate everybody's tuning in. Stay safe and stay sane. Do whatever you have to. Knit, crochet, race hamsters. I don't care. Just make sure you stay safe and stay sane. So, all right,
Yeah,
Nick.
that's right.
We'll see you guys later.
All right. Thank you.